Hi everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie back with you with another project. So today I want to make these vintage airline badges. My rendition of it anyway. So this is one that I put together. I've used a Tim Holtz photomatic photo, and I have used a vintage digital that I have used before from, I think it's Ziggy Design Digitals on Etsy. And I've done some stitching. I've added some tiny corners onto around the picture. You can see that. Stitching, I've added a leather top and I've added an eyelet. I've used some of the Tim Holtz Kraft cardstock that I have distressed, sanded. And then I did add gold gilding wax around it to give it a little bit more of a vintage look. So I'm going to make another one. So I have everything pretty much prepared. So I'll put this one aside. So I have my photo, I have the backing frame around it, which is Tim Holtz Kraft cardstock, which we will sand. I have my digital, and on the digitals I have used a decal-edged trimmer from Tim Holtz. So that's how I've done that. This is a piece that is also decal-edged that I have cut. So let me just give you some dimensions on this kit that I have. I have picked out the ones that I wanted and then I printed two to a page. So the Kraft cardstock ends up being about 6 7/8 by 3, and then I've just trimmed down the page just the digital a little bit smaller. So this is 2 3/4 by about 6 5/8, and then the photo I have trimmed down to 1 3/4 by 2 1/4. And then this piece ends up being 2 3/8 by 1 7/8. And then I have just a piece of leather, and I'm going to be using Distress Ink Scorched Timber on this. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and ink this piece up. Go around, and with the decal edge it really picks it up nicely and gives it kind of that grungy look. These digitals, very vintage. I absolutely love working with them. I had to do something else, another ID badge of some sort. Okay, let's get my sander. I'm just going to be using Tim Holtz sanding discs and a distress holder thing. I label all mine per color, and then if I'm not using it I'll just rip it off, put on the sanding disc and use it. So this is my rusty hinge and I've got that put away. So I'm going to sand around the edge of my Kraft cardstock, and that's what I love about this is it's so versatile. You can sand it, make it look a lot more grungy. Do it as grungy as you like. Sometimes I do it more, sometimes I do it less. Since we're only going to be seeing the edges, that's all I'm going to do on this. So get the desired look you want. So I'm happy with that. And while I'm at it, I'm going to do the same thing around this. And again, only around the edge because the photo is going to be covering the majority of it. So I just want the edge just to give it a little distressed look. And then the last thing I'm going to do on that is I'm going to go ahead and just make some creases into this photo. And then when I do all the inking, we will ink it and give it a little bit more of a distressed old look, somebody's old badge that we found. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ink everything up. And on this photo, I'm going to go around some of these creases and give it a darker, older, vintage look, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the back piece. I picked this color out because I kind of pulled it out of the ticket, so it's got this color in there. These are actually tickets, that's why I said ticket. So I'm turning them into something else. Turning them into a vintage airline ID badge. I know I've been doing quite a few ID badges, but I've been trying to do them different, and I really have enjoyed doing them. So hopefully you have too. Okay, so we've got things inked up. I'm going to be stitching around this, and I am going to be stitching around this. But before I do the stitching, I'm going to go ahead and glue on my leather piece. So it is going to go into the center here, as center as you can get it. So I'm going to trim this off because it's not straight and I don't need all of this. And then, let's see, yeah, that's about right. About like that. Doesn't look like it's very centered. That looks better. Okay, I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to glue this side. And the arc lighter glue works really well on the leather. I just hold it down for a couple of seconds and it grips it pretty good. And then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing. And that'll hold it in place while I stitch it. And then that way you don't see all of this in the front here. I kind of like that idea. I've done them both ways. Alright, and now this is going to go on here, and I'm just going to slightly glue it. Not a whole lot because I'm going to be doing the stitching, just enough to hold it in place. So line this all up, do the best you can, and then I'll press that down. And I'm also going to glue her on and then stitch around her as well. Just enough to hold them in place. So line her up as well and get that pressed down good. And with the glossy paper, I'm just going to hold it a few extra seconds longer. Alright, stitching done. So I've gone all the way around here. You can see it on this side. And then I've also gone around her. You can see it probably better on this side too. And now I want to add some corners to her. I just really thought when I put it on here, she's going to go actually in a different spot. So I'm going to put her up here. And when I looked at it, just, yeah, it didn't have anything to kind of pop it. So I like the corners that I did here. So I'm going to go ahead and add some corners. I have these tiny corners. I believe these came from Amazon. I believe my sister bought them and she shared them with me. So if you look for metal corners, you should be able to find, if you want these tiny ones. You can use bigger ones too if you want to. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue inside and then push it on, and I've got some pliers here and I'm just kind of pushing it in and down at the same time. In and down. And just give it a little crimp. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's supposed to be old. Been around a while. Seen better days. So just do the best you can. pushing it in and down, just crimping it a little bit. The glue will hold it as well. And push in and down. So we got 2. We'll get the other 2 on. Okay, one more. All right, so there we go. Just gives it a little bit of, I don't know, vintage and yet a pizzazz. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. And she is going to go right up here. So I'm envisioning these as stewardesses, maybe? Airline folks. So maybe these gals are stewardesses. They kind of look like they might be a stewardess. This is their badge. Way back in the early days of early airline. You know how the stories go. They're always fun to recreate in your mind and share. Okay, so we've got that. A couple more things. So I want to add an eyelet up here. And I have these darker ones. Oh, is that not the right one? This one. These are a little darker. So I'm going to use that. And grab my crocodile. And I'm just going to make a hole, kind of centering it in there. It goes really well through leather. And then let's crimp it down and just make sure, because this leather, if you have thicker leather, just make sure that it's in when you go to crimp it down good. So then that way it stays. So that's good. Perfect. And the last thing I want to do, first I'm going to cover my glue, is I'm going to use some of this gilding wax. I've had this forever. It just is amazing stuff. It smells good. It lasts a long time. You can get these tubes on Amazon. So you just look for metallic wax. And you don't use very much. I use just very little. So all I'm going to do is just kind of go around the edges here. Put as much or as little as you want on there. I'm just kind of going around the edges. I tried that on the other one and then I ended up getting some bigger blobs on there, so I just went ahead and added some more. But this is really what I wanted. I really just wanted it on the edge. And this stuff dries really quick too. Awesome. Yeah. Just really adds something to it. I don't know if you can see it. Camera doesn't do it a whole lot of justice, but it is really pretty. It just kind of adds just that little touch of vintage. Let me just finish what's on my finger. Like I said, it does not take much and just gives a nice vintage look to it. So, I don't know if you can see it. It's probably not very visible, but it just really adds to it. So I'm going to put this lid on. And we have finished our project. So we've got this airline badge and this airline badge. They're stewardesses. They're friends. Let's see. Evelyn and Adeline. So Evelyn and Adeline airline badges. Getting ready to go to work and fly overseas. Just sounds good. Okay, guys. I hope you guys all have a great day. God bless you all. We'll see what I come up with for the next video. And love to see your projects. Comment below too. I'd love to hear if you're enjoying these, if there's something else that you want me to do. I also want to thank all the new subscribers, thank all my existing subscribers and those that tune in on me, my channel, and I appreciate every one of you. So God bless you and have a great day. Bye.